There is a strange paradox at the center of modern life. We live in the most medically advanced era in human history, surrounded by gyms on every corner, wearable devices that count our footsteps, and an endless supply of dietary advice streaming through our feeds. And yet, chronic disease rates are skyrocketing. Obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and depression are reaching epidemic levels across the developed world. We have more tools to be healthy than ever before, but the average person is getting sicker, heavier, and more exhausted. So what is actually going on here? Why does the human body, an organism finely tuned by millions of years of evolution, break down so spectacularly when we stop moving and start eating the wrong things? The answer is not simple willpower, and it is not a lack of information. The answer lies in the deep biological machinery that governs how your cells produce energy, how your brain regulates mood, and how your body defends itself against the slow burn of inflammation. To understand why fitness and nutrition are non-negotiable, you have to understand what happens when you ignore them. And that is exactly what we are going to explore, because there are 10 major reasons your body demands regular exercise, and 7 reasons your survival depends on the quality of what you eat. Let us start with the most fundamental one of all. Every single cell in your body runs on a currency called ATP, and the efficiency with which you produce it determines everything about how you feel from the moment you wake up. When you exercise consistently, you are not just burning calories in the moment. You are literally upgrading your mitochondria, the microscopic power plants inside your cells. Research from the Mayo Clinic and Harvard Medical School has shown that people who engage in regular cardiovascular and resistance training have significantly higher mitochondrial density than sedentary individuals. This means their bodies convert oxygen and nutrients into usable energy far more efficiently. The result is not just better athletic performance. It is deeper sleep, sharper focus, more stable moods, and an almost unshakable sense of vitality throughout the day. People who do not exercise are not just missing out on fitness. They are running their entire biological system on outdated, underpowered hardware. And the second reason connects directly to this, because it involves the organ that controls everything you think, feel, and remember. Your brain is the most energy-hungry organ in your body, consuming roughly 20% of your total oxygen supply despite making up only about 2% of your body weight. When you exercise, you trigger the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that acts like fertilizer for your neurons. It stimulates the growth of new neural connections, particularly in the hippocampus, which is the region responsible for memory and learning. Studies published in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease have found that individuals who maintain regular physical activity throughout their lives have measurably larger hippocampal volume and a significantly reduced risk of cognitive decline. There's also the immediate chemical payoff. Exercise floods your system with dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, which is why even a 20-minute walk can shift your entire emotional state. People who skip exercise are not just missing a workout. They are starving their brain of the exact neurochemical environment it needs to stay resilient against anxiety and depression. Now let us talk about your heart, because it is the engine that never gets a day off. Cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of death globally, and the most powerful predictor of heart health is something called VO2 max, which is simply a measure of how efficiently your body transports and uses oxygen during exercise. Every time you raise your heart rate through intentional movement, you are training the heart muscle itself to pump more blood with each beat. Over time, this lowers your resting heart rate, reduces blood pressure, improves cholesterol ratios, and dramatically decreases arterial stiffness. In a landmark study from the Cleveland Clinic, patients who improved their cardiorespiratory fitness saw a 13% reduction in all-cause mortality for every single metabolic equivalent they gained. That is a staggering return on investment for something as simple as moving your body a few times a week. And the next reason builds on this engine, because it involves the structural framework that holds you upright. Your skeleton is not a static scaffold. It is a living, dynamic tissue that constantly remodels itself based on the demands you place on it. When you engage in weight-bearing exercise, whether it is lifting, running, or even walking, you create micro-stresses in your bones that signal your body to deposit more calcium and increase density. This is why astronauts who float in zero gravity lose bone mass at an alarming rate. On Earth, people who avoid exercise are doing the same thing to a lesser degree. Their bones become porous, fragile, and prone to fractures. Osteoporosis affects millions of older adults, but the foundation for it is laid decades earlier, through decades of inactivity. Strength training and impact exercise are the only proven ways to maintain bone density as you age, which directly determines whether you remain independent and mobile in your later years or end up in a fragile, dependent state. Let us move into the territory of metabolism and body composition, because this is where the modern world has gone catastrophically wrong. When you skip exercise, your body composition shifts toward higher fat mass and lower muscle mass, even if your weight on the scale stays the same. This shift is dangerous because muscle tissue is metabolically active. It burns calories even at rest. Fat tissue, particularly visceral fat that wraps around your organs, is hormonally active in a destructive way. It releases inflammatory cytokines and disrupts insulin signaling, which is the precursor to type 2 diabetes. A 2019 study in the journal Diabetology found that just 2 weeks of inactivity in healthy young adults led to significant muscle loss, increased visceral fat, and early signs of metabolic dysfunction. Your body is constantly asking the question, do I need to be ready for physical demand? If the answer is consistently no, your physiology shifts towards storage, stagnation, and disease. Exercise sends the opposite signal. It tells every cell in your body that you are an active organism, and the entire system responds accordingly. Now we arrive at something most people never consider, which is your immune system. Your body fights off viruses, bacteria, and even cancer cells every single day, and the effectiveness of that fight depends heavily on your circulation. Exercise acts as a natural immune system modulator. During physical activity, your blood flow increases, which allows immune cells to patrol the body more efficiently. Over time, regular moderate exercise reduces systemic inflammation, which is the root cause of nearly every chronic disease. A review in the Journal of Sport and Health Science confirmed that physically active individuals have a 40 to 50% reduced risk of developing common infections and show better responses to vaccination. People who are sedentary live in a state of low-grade chronic inflammation that quietly damages tissues and accelerates aging at the cellular level. The next reason is one that affects your daily experience more than almost anything else. Your sleep quality is directly tied to your physical activity levels. When you exercise, you expend energy, regulate your circadian rhythm, and reduce the anxiety that often prevents deep sleep. People who do not move enough during the day often lie awake at night with restless minds and restless bodies. They wake up unrefreshed, which leads to poor food choices the next day, which leads to energy crashes, which leads to more inactivity. It is a vicious cycle. Breaking it requires physical exertion. A meta-analysis in the journal Sleep Medicine Reviews found that regular exercisers fell asleep faster, experienced deeper slow-wave sleep, and reported significantly better daytime alertness. Sleep is not a luxury. It is the foundation of recovery, and exercise is the most reliable way to ensure you get it. We have covered your cells, your brain, your heart, your bones, your metabolism, your immune system, and your sleep. But there is an eighth reason that is profoundly human, and it has to do with identity and discipline. Every time you choose to exercise, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. Psychologists call this identity-based habit formation. When you consistently show up for a workout, even when you do not feel like it, you are building evidence that you are someone who takes care of themselves. This sense of self-efficacy spills over into every other area of life. People who exercise regularly are statistically more likely to maintain healthy relationships, perform better at work, and exhibit greater resilience in the face of setbacks. The body leads, and the mind follows. People who skip exercise do not just lose fitness. They slowly erode their belief in their own ability to follow through on hard things. The ninth reason is perhaps the most personal of all, because it involves how long you live and how well you age. A landmark study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine followed tens of thousands of adults over many years and found that regular physical activity added an average of 3 to 7 years to life expectancy. But it is not just about quantity. It is about quality. People who exercise maintain their mobility, their independence, and their cognitive clarity deep into old age. They avoid the frailty that traps so many sedentary individuals in a slow, painful decline. Aging is inevitable, but the way you age is a choice you make every single day through how you treat your body. And the 10th reason ties everything together, because it involves the hormonal symphony that governs your entire physiology. When you exercise, you optimize the function of virtually every major hormone in your body. Insulin becomes more sensitive, which means your cells respond to it properly and you store less fat. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is regulated more effectively. Growth hormone and testosterone levels are supported, which preserve muscle mass and vitality. Even your appetite-regulating hormones, ghrelin and leptin, come back into balance. People who do not exercise experience hormonal chaos that drives cravings, fatigue, weight gain, and mood instability. They often blame their metabolism or their age, but the real culprit is the absence of the physical signal that tells their endocrine system everything is functioning as it should. Now let us turn to the food you put into this incredible machine, because even the most disciplined exercise routine can be undermined by a poor diet. And the first reason to eat healthy is the one that surprises people the most. Your gut contains roughly 38 trillion bacteria, collectively known as the microbiome, and the composition of that microbiome is determined almost entirely by what you eat. A diet rich in fiber, vegetables, and fermented foods feeds the beneficial bacteria that produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and short-chain fatty acids that protect your gut lining. A diet high in processed sugar and artificial ingredients feeds the harmful bacteria that promote inflammation, brain fog, and disease. The gut is often called the second brain, but it might actually be the first. 95% of your serotonin is produced there. What you eat is not just feeding your body. It is shaping your mood, your immunity, and your thoughts. The second reason is energy stability. When you eat whole foods that are low in glycemic load, your blood sugar remains stable throughout the day. You avoid the sharp spikes and crashes that leave you hungry, irritable, and reaching for another coffee. When you eat a diet dominated by refined carbohydrates and sugars, you create a roller coaster of insulin release that eventually leads to insulin resistance, which is the gateway to type 2 diabetes. A study in the New England Journal of Medicine showed that diet quality was a stronger predictor of weight gain over a 20-year period than exercise or caloric restriction alone. You cannot outrun a bad diet. And the third reason builds directly on this, because it involves the chronic inflammation we mentioned earlier. Every meal you eat is either fighting inflammation or feeding it. Processed meats, fried foods, refined sugars, and seed oils overloaded with omega-6 fatty acids all trigger inflammatory pathways in the body. Whole foods like leafy greens, berries, fatty fish, nuts, and olive oil actively reduce it. Chronic inflammation is the silent driver of heart disease, Alzheimer's, arthritis, and even depression. You will not feel it happening in the moment, but over years it compounds into serious disease. Choosing anti-inflammatory foods is like applying a protective coating to every cell in your body, every single day. The fourth reason to eat well involves your skin, your hair, and your visible vitality. The beauty industry sells billions of dollars worth of products every year, but the most powerful cosmetic in existence is a nutrient-dense diet. Vitamins A, C, E, and zinc all play critical roles in collagen production, cellular repair, and protection against oxidative damage. People who eat well literally glow differently. Their skin is clearer, their eyes are brighter, and their hair is stronger. And the fifth reason is cognitive performance. Your brain requires a constant supply of glucose, but it also requires specific micronutrients to function optimally. Deficiencies in B vitamins, omega-3 fatty acids, and magnesium are linked to brain fog, poor memory, and even clinical depression. A study from the University of Oxford found that increasing fruit and vegetable intake was associated with measurable improvements in well-being and life satisfaction within just 2 weeks. Food is not just fuel. It is information that directly influences how your brain operates. The sixth reason is longevity at the deepest cellular level. Telomeres are the protective caps at the end of your chromosomes, and their length is one of the strongest predictors of biological age. A landmark study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that individuals who consumed a diet rich in whole foods had significantly longer telomeres than those who consumed a processed food diet. Every meal is either shortening your life or extending it. And the seventh and final reason is the one that ties everything together, because it is about the relationship you have with food itself. Eating healthy is not about restriction or punishment. It is about respect. When you learn to view food as the most powerful medicine available to you, every meal becomes an act of self-care. You stop fighting your body and start working with it. You stop chasing quick fixes and start building a foundation of health that will carry you through every decade of life with strength, clarity, and joy. Your body is not asking for perfection. It is asking for consistency. Move it, feed it well, and it will reward you with more energy, more years, and more life than you ever thought possible.